Hey, how's it going? And I wanted to do an update to a tutorial I did on the option type because it was incorrect. Something I said wasn't correct. And so I just wanted to set the record straight. I'm just in a blank verse template, island template, and this is all in the code. So let's take a look at this. The option type has confused the heck out of me from the very beginning. It's kind of confusing because it's a container type and like an array. And so it's a container, but then it holds a type. So it's a type with types in it. And so that part gets confusing. I'm not sure what's the best way to express that, to say, it's an option with such and such type in it, like it's an array with integers in it. So it's an option with strings in it or something like that. My point here is to show you that you can set it as either a variable or as a constant. And you see it both ways. A lot of times I think you see it just set as a constant, and it almost makes sense to just set it as a constant because it's either going to be one thing or another. It's usually this or that. It's either what you expect it to be or not. And so I don't know the advantage necessarily of setting it to a variable. It seems like either way would work. But it can get confusing if you set it as a variable sometimes, and so I'll show you. So up here we have an option container, and we're putting a string inside of it, and it just says this is a string. Now something to note is with the logic types, you don't have to do the keyword or the curly braces. You can just put false, or I don't think we ever put true in here. Can I put true in here? I don't think so. No, true doesn't work. It's either false or some other type. So there we go on that. Okay, so this is an option container, and we're going to be putting false. We're initializing it to false, and it's a constant. So this is a variable, this is a constant. Okay, so now let's begin here. And what I'd like to do is change the value in this container. So we have to do it anytime. The thing that's confusing, I guess, about verse is that if there's a possibility that something you're calling is not going to return with something, then that has to be set up within a failure context. So anytime you're calling something and it might not be there, then it's usually got to be called conditionally within an if statement. So here what we got is we have to call it, and when you call it, you have to call it with something that can. So what we have here is we're just saying, hey, get what's inside of here. And this works because we have to have something to evaluate. So this works, and it's going to evaluate and say, well, I know that's an option type, so there might not be anything in there. It might be false, or there could be something in there. So this can succeed or fail. So it's actually going to succeed because it's got a string value in there. And so if that succeeds, then we can go ahead and set the option to with a new value here. So here when we do it, we've got to put the keyword and put it in curly braces, and we can just call my option string, and instead of having this is a string, we're gonna put this is a newly assigned string. Now what's interesting is you think about it as a container. Well, this my option string is a option container. Well, we got to get the value out of it or unpack it. It's inside of a container, so we have to query it again and put it into a new container. So this is how we would do it. We have to come up with a new name, and we can use this colon equals operator to do it. Even though this isn't usually used, we can use it here in this case and unpack the string and put it in here. And now once that's done, we can unpack it here. Just think of it as you're putting something in a shipping container, and then maybe there's something in there, maybe there's not. So every time you do that, you gotta, I guess, ask conditionally. Okay, now this is an interesting one down here. So we have our constant up here, and it's an option type, and we've set it to false. And so we're querying, is there anything in the shipping container here? Maybe there is, maybe there isn't, right? There isn't anything in here, and it's set to false, right? So this is going to fail. So nothing's going to happen. We're not going to be able to reset the value or get the value, because this is just going to jump out because it failed. So none of this is going to happen here. Okay, so we won't even see this because when it goes to call it, it's going to come back false. So what we're going to do is we can use the not operator. I don't really need that there. What we can do is the not operator is this is going to fail, but then it's going to negate that and make it true. So once this evaluates to true, then we can go ahead and reset the container with the value of 101. It was originally set to false. We can set it to 101 now. But again, to unpack it, we've got to put it like in a fresh container. We can't use the container that it's in. So we've got to put it in a new container here. And then it'll print out. So what we should see then from all this is we'll see this string and we'll see this string, but we're not going to see this one because this is going to fail when it's queried. So let's see if that's what we see. We should just see the two print strings. Yep, that's what we see. So anyway, take care, have a great day, and I'll talk to you next time.